This is something that has never been done before, and I'm so excited. And welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today, because today I'm answering the top 100 most googled questions on blindness so you don't have to search for them. This blind girl is going to answer them all for you today. I'm so excited. If you want a specific question answering and you're just interested in that, because this is going to be a long video, there will be timestamps in the description box for set questions so you can navigate till your heart is content. And I'm just really excited. Make sure your tea, your cup is hot, you've got some popcorn, some biscuits, maybe some crisps, and a healthy snack, maybe an apple. And we're going to jump right into question number 1. First question, do blind people blink? Yes, we do. I'm blinking right now. Dust can get around our eyes even if they don't work properly, and basically blinking makes sure all of that's cleared away. It lubricates the eyes. If you never blinked at all, your corneas would become incredibly dry and you would most likely develop vision problems. Blinking's a reflex. It's something I've done my entire life. Sighted or non-sighted, we all blink. We do it around 20 to 25 times per minute. Number 2, do blind people drive? No, if you're registered blind legally, you can't drive. I can't see out of the windscreen, so it would be quite dangerous for me to drive. However, just because I can't drive, this doesn't mean there isn't very successful rally drivers who are blind, like Matt Newman, who has a racing partner who guides him around the track. Absolutely incredible. After all, in 1945, Ralph Teeter, a blind engineer, actually invented cruise control, which is such a cool fact. Also, India has an annual rally for the blind called the Blind Man Car Rally. 3, do blind people cry? Yes, if you have working tear ducts, you can cry, and just because you have an eye condition that may eventually make you go blind, it doesn't mean your tear ducts don't work. So yes, I can cry, I get emotional like everyone else. Number 4, do blind people have better hearing? No, we don't have better hearing, but the parts of my brain that used to process visual imagery that now aren't getting any signals to that part sort of rewire the signals. The brain is so incredible, by the way. My visual cortex is being rewired for auditory sounds. Some would say I hear better, but to be honest, I think it's just because I'm really honing in on the sounds, listening to the detail of them, because it's my main sense. Number 5, does blindness define you? No, if you're just looking at the person's impairment, you're not looking at the whole person. It's really about looking at what we can do and not what we can't. Look at the bright side, even if you can't see the sun. Number 6, do blind people see nothing? I think this is a really interesting question because I think every blind person may answer this in a different way. Personally, I don't see nothing, but I think other blind people would maybe say that they do, depending on what condition has actually made them blind. I used to have sight, and pretty good sight at that. I used to be able to read 12-point font. So to me, I really do, when describing my vision, reference what I used to be able to see. When I say I see black and flashing lights, that is what I used to be able to comprehend in the visual world. So my descriptions may be different to what maybe people who are blind from birth describe. I would say the closest thing to seeing nothing is maybe if you're sighted and you're watching this right now, close your right eye. That isn't seeing black necessarily, it's seeing nothing, but maybe you would describe it as black. I see flashing light that look like fireworks. They follow my vision all around. They're not coloured, it's literally just like a big flashing light. If you want to know more about what I see, I will put a card on the screen right now to my other video about my description of my eyesight. Around 90% of the people on the planet who are registered blind can see something, so not every blind person sees nothing or darkness. Number 7, when do blind babies walk? There's a 6-month delay in the development of blind babies walking to the average sighted baby. More generally, blind babies apparently will start walking and just skip the crawling stage altogether. You want to know more about that, I will leave some links in the description box for you to check out about blind babies and their development. Number 8, when do blind babies smile? Blind babies smile in the 4th week of their life. They smile in the response to the sounds of their parents. In sighted babies at 6 months, usually a smile is quite automatic. but in blind babies, the smile is a little less natural. There are many studies that explore the facial expressions and development of blind babies. 9. Can blind people get pregnant? Yes, my reproductive organs do work. This has nothing to do with my blindness. I am lucky enough to have a working reproductive system. Mammals like the Syrian golden hamster, if blinded, do become infertile. This prompted a study into the light-dark cycles of a human being and whether they affect fertility for blind women. The conclusion of the study was that blindness has no long-term effect on fertility. Number 10. When do you go blind? Blindness can occur at any age, at any time of life, with any condition. 11. Do blind people need sunlight? Not necessarily to get about, but sunlight can be very painful for my eyes in particular, and other people have photophobia and light sensitivity because of their eyesight condition. 12. Do blind people dream? Most blind people who often have had vision earlier on in life and have lost it later on do sometimes dream in visuals, but for me, I did lose my eyesight at 17 and I don't see visuals anymore. I dream as if I'm in a storybook. I still have really vivid dreams, like I can smell and touch and taste things. It feels really real to me and I'm in the scenario, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's just completely different to the way I used to visually dream when I had vision, so it's really interesting. Fun fact, blind people are more likely to have nightmares than sighted people. Number 13, how does blindness occur? Due to a medical condition, injury, or genetic disease. 14, can blind people be racist? Anyone can be, but it's absolutely horrible. 15, how do blind people see? Vision loss is a massive spectrum. No two blind people see the same. Some people don't have any light perception. Some others see very, very blurry blobs. There are so many conditions out there and so many ways that you can go blind that there isn't enough time to explain all of the things in this video. You could have visual disturbances such as floaters, which are little blobs that follow your line of sight that you can't bat away and you can't see past. It's like having a dirty windscreen, not being able to wipe it and never being able to get it off. You can't see past it. Some have tunnel vision, meaning they can only see from the middle of their eye. Some have only peripheral vision, only being able to see from up, down, left and right of their eye. It is such a spectrum. Some people may be missing parts of their retina, or their retina may have detached, like me, which may cause some or total vision loss. 16 is blindness genetic. Yes, it can be a result of genetic condition or injury or other disorders. Personally, mine is a genetic disorder. It's called incontinenti pigmenti, which runs down the female line of my genes. On the X chromosome is a dominant gene. This condition caused me to go blind. Blindness can not only be caused by a genetic condition, e.g. glaucoma, it can be due to injury or other things. 17 is blindness a disease. Blindness is not a disease, it's a symptom of a disease. However, you can catch a disease that may cause blindness. River blindness is a type of infection that can cause blindness. 18 is blindness curable. Sometimes yes and sometimes no. Personally, my condition isn't curable. In some countries around the world, blindness could be avoided if there was better medical care. For instance, cataracts are very curable in the UK, but may not be able to be cured in some countries. 19 is blindness a disability. The definition of disability is a physical or mental condition that limits a person's movements, senses, or activities, meaning blindness is a disability. 20 is blindness a recessive or dominant gene. Blindness itself isn't a gene, but genetic conditions that cause blindness can be caused by mutations in the genes. So for instance, my gene on my X chromosome has mutated, causing my incontinenti pigmenti, then it went on to cause my blindness. Other examples of genetic conditions are retinitis pigmentosa, and this can cause blindness too. 21. Why do blind people's eyes roll back? You might have eye problems such as strabismus. Ocular albinism may cause your eyes to roll back too. Certain medications may cause your eyes to roll back. 22. Why do blind people look up? I personally look up a lot more now that I'm blind, and I think that's just because I'm trying to focus on listening to the person or the object, or say it's the telly in front of me, and I think my ears just try and focus on it by looking up. I don't know, it's a natural reflex that I do. I think the image of a typical person thinking and looking up is like hand on the chin, looking up in thought, and I think that's maybe what I'm doing when I'm thinking about a sound in front of me. Naturally, I'm looking up. 23. Can blind people move their eyes independently? independently? Yes, personally, I'm blind and I can move my eyes independently, up and down and around. Some people might not be able to, but usually it is the case that we can move our eyes. Even if you have artificial eyes, glass eyes, you can usually move them left to right. 24, why do blind people's eyes move all the time? Not every blind person has continuous eye movement. I personally don't, but if you do, again, it may be nystagmus or dancing eye syndrome. 25, why do blind people's eyes turn blue? In most cases, your eye colour doesn't change if you become blind, but certain injuries can cause your eyes to turn blue. Pigmentary glaucoma is caused when one's iris starts to leak into the rest of the eye and can cause it to go grey or blue. When someone has cataracts, they can develop a cloudy-like eye that may go a bit grey, but it is a misconception that it turns blue. I will link some more information in the description box about pigmentary glaucoma if you want to check it out, and other conditions that may cause the colours of your eyes to change if you go blind. 26, why do blind people close their eyes? Not all blind people close their eyes. I certainly don't. It may be if you're blind from birth and you never have really opened your eyes before, the muscles in your eyelids might not be used that much and might not be, limbered up to open and close all the time. They might not be strong enough to open and close. Also, closing your eyes is just better when you have sensitivity to light. Personally, I do that sometimes, and it just makes it way more comfortable just to sit and go about your daily business if we don't need our vision. 27, how do blind people use phones? I have an iPhone and it's amazing. It's really cool. It has a system called VoiceOver on, as does every other Apple product, and it means I can hear everything on my display or my computer. 28, how do blind people use computers? We can use computers because there's software that can be loaded onto a Windows PC called JAWS, Job Access with Speech, which can basically read out everything on the screen, and we don't use a mouse, we use keyboard shortcuts, and arguably we could be a lot quicker than the average sighted person at navigating around a computer. Also, Apple products all have VoiceOver on. For instance, you as a sighted person may use your mouse and right click and click copy on a piece of text, whereas we do Command C. 29, how do blind people learn? I personally learn without visual aids, so most of my adult learning was without any visual cues. I personally learn through non-visual aids like my hearing, and that's what I've done all of my adult life. Before I lost my vision, I was quite a visual learner, but I've just adapted my techniques. I personally use memory aids like creating a story with the facts that I'm trying to learn, or creating a song. 30, do blind people see black? Personally, I do see black in my right eye, and half of my eye on my left side I do see black, but I describe it as that because I have had visual aids and memories before, so the closest colour that I can sort of describe my vision to you as is black, but others who have different conditions to me and have gone blind completely different ways may say something completely different to me, so talk to other blind people, and this is definitely a varied answer. 31, do blind people watch TV? Yes, we watch TV. We use something called audio description, which is a track that overlays most TV shows so we can hear the description of what the characters are doing within the show. So for instance, if Sally was to enter a room or an office and she was wearing a pink top, the audio description would quickly describe Sally is entering the office with a pink top on and a skirt, and then the dialogue would begin as always from the show. 32, do blind people have pupils? Yes. 33, can blind people write? Yes, we can, but I used to be able to write. I did handwriting lessons at school. I was a sighted child, so I had the ability to write. All blind people can write with their keyboard, and they also write with a tactile language called Braille. 34, can blind people read? Yes, we can. We read audiobooks. They are amazing. I love them. And we also read Braille. 35, can blind people imagine? Yes, I can imagine, and I would argue that imagination extends far beyond what we can perceive visually. 36, why do blind people wear dark sunglasses? I personally wear sunglasses because my eyes are quite sensitive to light, and I know this is very common within the blind community, but also I just wear sunglasses because they look cool. Ray-Bans for the win. Other blind people may have photophobia, aka light sensitivity, like me, so they will wear sunglasses. 37, why do blind people rock? Not all blind people rock. Personally, I don't, but I do have other things that I do because I am sort of craving visual stimulation. So I mess with my hair a lot, I mess with my eyebrows a lot, and it's just because I don't have anything visually to give me stimulation anymore. 38, why do blind people carry a stick? I personally have a white cane and it allows me to navigate the world. I tap left and right on my surroundings, shorelining to buildings, so I can navigate around them and get to my destination very safely. I use this mobility aid in sort of harmony with my Google Maps and my technology on my iPhone, so I can get to any place independently. The bottom of my cane is a rollable tip and I sweep it across the ground, and this allows me to gather tactile information, i.e. what surfaces I am walking on, whether I'm coming up to a step, and the cane always reaches the obstacle for my body, and you sort of go cross body and go left and right in sweeping motions. For that reason, it is for safety. It depends where you live, what colour the cane is that symbolises blindness. 39, do all blind people's eyes look the same? No, every blind person looks different. There's not a typical way the eyeball should look if you can't see at all. There are so many different conditions, and when you look at a person with low vision, you would never necessarily know that they're completely blind. The only symbol of that may be their mobility aid, i.e. their guide dog or their cane. 40, what is a guide dog? A guide dog is an assistance dog that leads blind people around. They are a true companion. I'm with my guide dog more than humans. I'm such a dog lady now. I absolutely love her. She's my best friend and she is my true companion. She stops at curbs for me, so I know where I am and I can count the curbs to my next destination, and I orientate myself through the signals she gives me through the harness. 41, is a guide dog your sat nav? No, I am very much the navigator, the one with Google Maps in my headphones, and she is the driver. We are a team. 42, do blind people work? Yes, blind people do work. There are so many different professions that blind people can do. No, you won't necessarily see us flying a plane or driving a taxi, but the sky is the limit when we have our assistive technology. 43, why do blind people's phones talk? My iPhone talks because I can't see the screen to navigate around my phone, so I wouldn't be able to text if I didn't have a voiceover. I personally don't need the screen on at all. I triple tap with 3 fingers on my iPhone to turn screen curtain on, which is really cool because other people can't look behind at my phone on a busy crowded bus or whatever. So basically I'm just hearing all of my text messages in my headphones and I can go about my day. Who needs screen anyway? 44, why do blind people's phones talk so fast? My iPhone talks at around 500 words per minute, and it's just something I've got used to over time. I just wanted to be able to skim read, so I made it go quicker and quicker and quicker. I've been at this for 7 years, guys. It's just something that you really do develop over time. I'm hearing at about 500 words per minute. The average sighted person hears words at about 250 words per minute. 45, are guide dogs sad if they have to work? No, not at all. Olga wags her tail if I get her harness out. She's so excited to work. She actively places her head into the harness and is ready to go. Also, when she takes the harness off at the end of the day, she's ready to play, be a normal dog, play with her toys, have her bone and her treats, and go for a free run in the park with her friends. 46, do blind people cook for themselves? Yes, blind people do cook. There are amazing blind chefs called Christine Ha. I will link her in the description box. But also, I personally cook most nights for my sighted fiance. I love the slow cooker. I love chopping and doing different recipes. I read the recipes with accessible apps on my phone that read out the text in a book for me, so it's all good. Also, what's really cool is I go on BBC Good Foods online and just read recipes from there on my iPhone. Also, I weigh ingredients out with my talking scales. 47, can blind people sleep? Yes, every human can sleep. If you don't sleep, you die. 48, can blind people do their makeup? Yes, blind people can do their makeup, queens. I have released a book called The Blind Beauty Guide, out now on Amazon Kindle, if you want to know how this blind girl does her makeup. Also, you can check out my TikTok where I apply my makeup really quickly for you to see. 49, do blind people know when to stop wiping? This question always makes me laugh because you adapt to everything in life with a bit of practice. If you've ever found yourself asking this question, I can assure you everything is under control. 50, do all blind people have guide dogs? No, not all people are guide dog users. They may have long white canes or symbol canes to get out and about, but also Fun fact, around 95% of blind and visually impaired people get about without a mobility aid at all. Some people who are registered blind may not feel that they ever want a mobility aid, it's just up to personal preference. They may have some remaining vision in order to orientate themselves without a mobility aid. 51. How many blind people are there in the world? Currently, in 2020, it's estimated that there are around 38 million people who are registered blind, 110 million with low vision. 52. What is Braille? It's the tactile language of the blind. One Braille cell is made up of 6 raised dots that look like a domino, and different combinations equate to different characters, and also in grade 2, different sets of letters. Different combinations of dots make up different words and letters depending on whether you're using grade 1 Braille or grade 2. 53. Do all blind people read Braille? No, unfortunately only around 10% of blind people actually read Braille. I am one of them. Please read Braille. I don't want it to be a dying language. It is so important for note taking and just doing presentations. To be honest, I think Braille is dying because of computers. Screen readers are in wide circulation now, so there's becoming less and less of a need for Braille, but I personally don't think there is. We need to feel a word written down in order for us to punctuate properly and just really truly understand the English language. 54. Who invented Braille? Braille was established in 1824 by Louis Braille, a French educator. He was born on the 4th of January 1809. Louis became blind because he was playing with really sharp instruments in his father's tool shop, and he actually poked one of his eyes and he became blind instantly in it, and then the infection spread to the other eye and he became blind in both eyes then. With all the best medicine and medication at the time, he just couldn't regain his sight and the infection got worse. 55. Where do blind people live? Anywhere and everywhere, from London to America. 56. Do all blind people have eyelids? I have eyelids and I'm blind, so I have no reason to think that every other blind person doesn't have eyelids. I think that would affect the lubrication of the eyes if you didn't have eyelids, so leave me a comment if you don't have any. If you're blind, I would love to know. 57. Is it okay if a sighted person gets a tattoo in Braille? Personally, I think you can get a tattoo of anything that you want to. Personally, I think as long as the tattoo is meaningful and it means something to you, sure, get a tattoo in Braille, like do what you want, it's your body. I really want a tattoo soon, and me and my sister are thinking of getting matching ones, and my sister is completely sighted and it will most likely be in Braille. So yeah, go for it. 58. Can blind people swim? Yes, there are so many blind Paralympic swimmers out there who are killing it in the swimming pool. If I was to swim, I'm just like an average, do it for fun type of swimmer. Personally, I hold on to the lane markers so I know where I am, or I put my hands out in front of me so I'm not going to bump into anything. 59. Do blind people listen to the radio? I personally listen to the radio all the time. I love the radio. I was actually the first ever blind Radio 1 presenter on the BBC. So yeah, that's how much I love radio. There's so many blind DJs out there. So cool, but you know, you don't have to listen to the radio if you're blind. I just personally do. 60. How does a blind person know what they look like? Personally, I used to be able to see myself when I was 17, so that was nearly 8 years ago now. I have a very blurry memory of what I used to look like, so key features, I could tell you I'm a redhead, small nose, blue eyes, blue greeny eyes. I could tell you those set features, but I can't really remember what my face looks like, and I don't really mind. Visual memory actually fades if you don't refresh the image all the time, so the more I try and remember what I look like, the worse the memory gets for me. I think it's about body confidence and being really comfy in your own skin, and I'm okay that I can't look in the mirror. I can do my makeup without a mirror. It doesn't matter to me. I actually feel more free in some ways that I can't look into one. I don't have the pressure of looking at myself and, you know, taking a picture for Instagram that has to be completely, totally perfect. I don't have that stress on my life. 61. Do blind people smile? Yes, I smile. Smiling, I think, is a natural response to happiness, and yeah, I learned to smile when I was a kid because I was sighted, but I think it's just something that every human does. It's natural. People who are born blind can smile. We just smile to different things. I don't have any visual cues, but I emotionally feel happy, so I smile. 62, can blind people taste better than sighted people? I wouldn't say my taste buds have changed at all when I lost my eyesight. I think I just love food and I love tasting new dishes. I would say I taste food and really love experiencing different cultures through the food. So if I go to a new country, that is the first thing on my bucket list. I will go to so many different restaurants and experience the culture that way. The language, you know, I just love the history of food and I love cooking as a hobby with my fiance. So yeah, tasting food, I would say I really do taste the notes of the food and appreciate it like I didn't before when I was sighted. There's never a dish that I don't garnish with flavour. I love growing herbs in my garden. It's a massive hobby. I'm actually growing some tomatoes at the moment and they're almost ready to pick. 63, can blind people run? Yes, I'm completely blind and I've ran the London Marathon a good few years back with my sighted guide. A question that's often asked as a side note to this is, does your guide dog run with you, like guide you when you're running? No, I think that would be far too long for my guide dog to run 26.2 miles. So yeah, I did have a sighted running partner and I found him on British Blind Sport, but loads of people have guide runners who are blind. We are tethered to our runner with a piece of rope, or I use a ramble tag. Treadmills are so accessible as well. They often have raised buttons. I always steady myself with my left hand whilst I'm on the treadmill just so I can run independently and I won't fall off. Apple Watches are so accessible when you're running because they announce every mile, just like every other accessible product. Just, I love my Apple Watch for tracking my miles on my run. 64, can blind people own a house? Yes, they can, because we are functioning members of society. I actually own my own house in the UK and I am so happy. No matter if you have a disability or not, you can own a house. 65, do blind people have a stronger sense of smell? Personally, I just really love scents since I've become blind. Candles and laundry detergent is really something I love. I really notice a person's perfume. My best friend Beth said to me she will never ever change her perfume because I just always know her scent, which is really sweet. I just always comment on people's perfume. I love Lush scents. I love Yankee candles. It's just how I experience the world. I put different incense burners in different rooms of my house so I can smell the different rooms that I'm in. Just a sensory experience is an amazing one for me. 66, can blind people own another dog as well as a guide dog? Yes, we can. We can also have pet dogs as well as assistance animals. I actually, when I was living at my parents' house, lived with my sister's border collie Otis and my parents' lovely dog Bella. She was my childhood dog and we lived there with my guide dog Olga. All three of them lived in harmony together and there's no problem as long as your guide dog mobility instructor has been notified and they're okay with that, it's all right. 67, do blind people see colour? Yes and no. Blindness is a spectrum. I've been blind for 7 years, as I said, and I don't see colour anymore. I used to when I was first registered blind, but this is a massive spectrum in the blind community. I use an app called Seeing AI to detect colour now, and I just hold the app over different objects and I know what colour they are. It announces. So this is how I sort of pick my clothes in the morning and other bits and bobs. It just helps me around the house. Also, if you want to see me doing this in action, you can go to my TikTok at Lucy Edwards Blind and you can see me trying to find out what colour a pillow is on my sofa. 68, what is colour blindness? So colour blindness is different to being blind. It's the inability to see certain colours. I know one of my best friends, Jack, he has colour blindness and he sees a lot of yellow colours. 69, do blind people have friends? Yes, I do have friends. Thank you for asking. 70, what does it mean to be registered visually impaired? If you're registered visually impaired in the UK, your visual acuity with glasses and any other visual aids has to be between 360 and 660. So, for instance, what a visually impaired person sees at 3 metres, a sighted person would see at 60 metres away. As the visual impairment registration is different in different countries, I will link some resources in the description box. 71, what does it mean to be registered blind? If you're registered blind in the UK, i.e. severely sight impaired is another term, you will have a visual acuity of less than 360 with a full visual field. 72, do blind people sleep with their eyes closed? Yes, I do. 73, what are prosthetic eyes made out of? Acrylic and glass are the most common prosthetic eye types that you can get. I personally don't have prosthetic eyes. 74, what does high eye pressure mean? Normal eye pressure is between 12 and 22 mmHg. 75, do blind people look at things? Yes, I look at things because I've looked at things for my whole life, and we look towards sounds. 76, can you really simulate blindness? There are a lot of glasses that you can wear to show different eye conditions. So this gets a sort of okay representation of the different conditions. But personally, before I went blind, I never really knew what it was like to be blind. It's really not like just closing your eyes. The different visual things that you get in your eyes just because of your condition and your brain trying to work, flashing lights and different things. I don't really think, to be honest, you can simulate blindness completely accurately, but people do try. 77, can blind people walk? Yes, personally I can walk, but there may be people who have low vision who can't walk. It just depends on their different disabilities. 78, can blind people eat? Yes, I can eat. Just because I've lost my vision doesn't mean I can't, and I've done a TikTok video on this if you want to see. At least Edward's blind. 79, can cats go blind? Yes, they can. 80, can dogs go blind? Yes, they can. 81, what is night blindness? It's the inability to see anything in the dark. That's what I have, and I've had that since I was age 12. 82, can cataracts make you go blind? Yes, they can. I had cataracts and they did almost make me completely blind before I had them removed, but then my retina detached. 83, can diabetes cause blindness? Yes, there is a condition from diabetes that is called diabetic retinopathy. 84, can you be happy and blind? Yes, you can. You can have a completely fulfilling life as a blind person. I do as a blind woman, and I love my life now. I wouldn't have it any other way. 85, is love blind? I personally think it is. 86, can you be blind and deaf? Yes, you can be deaf blind, and the symbol for deaf blindness in the UK in terms of having a mobility aid, which is a cane, which is red, white, down in stripes. 87, can you catch blindness like you catch the flu? No, you can't. If you are in a room with a blind person, that doesn't make you go blind at all. They may have a condition that eventually may be passed on to you that may cause blindness, but it is very rare. For example, river blindness is one of them. 88, can blind people play football? Yes, we can. Usually there is a ball that we kick around that has a bell in it. It's so cool. And also there is a sport called goal ball that is amazing. 89, are blind people normal? As normal as anyone else, to be honest. I consider myself quite normal, but what is normal anyway? 90, do all blind people have eyes? Maybe not. There's a lot of blind people out there who have prosthetic eyes, but personally I do have eyes and I'm blind. 91, do blind people understand vision? Yes, I do. I've had vision before, so I understand what it's like to have vision and comprehend the visual world. Some blind people who are blind from birth don't have the ability to necessarily understand it, but I think the concept of the visual things in our world are beautiful as descriptions. 92, do people only go blind later on in life? No, I went blind at 17, but it is common later on in life to develop vision problems like macular degeneration. 93, can blind people go on Britain's Got Talent? Yes, we can. There has been so many amazing blind acts on Britain's Got Talent. 94, can blind people live? Yes, currently living and breathing in this video, can confirm. 95, do blind people care about sight? I personally don't really think about having vision or caring about the visual world massively in my day-to-day life, just because I don't need it anymore. I've learned to live and adapt to my surroundings without it. So if I cared every day, it would just be wanting something that I don't have, and that's not productive to me. In terms of caring about the visual world, yes, I do. I care that I have a lovely home. I love furnishings. I care about fashion, makeup, hair, anything the average woman would do in their early 20s, would care about. And I still do love Instagram and descriptions, but yeah, just in terms of just being able to feel my best and live my best life, not necessarily just because everything's visual. 96, are males or females more likely to become blind? There are more females in the world that are blind blind than men? Check the description box for the info. 97, who is the most famous blind person? Stevie Wonder, of course. 98, how do blind people go to the bathroom? Just like anyone else, we just don't see the bathroom, so it's normal for me to go to the bathroom. It's just a weird question, sorry guys, like, I just go to the bathroom like anyone else. 99, do I just grab a blind person if I can see they need help? No, you don't just grab anyone. It's best to have human to human conversation, communication. This is what we want in the world. The motto should be just ask, don't grab. Give the person the independence they deserve. Everyone has, you know, the ability to fend for themselves and, you know, tell you what they need. So yeah. 100, what is the definition of blindness? Alexa, define blindness. She's got a few definitions. Condition of being blind, unable to see, mental darkness or ignorance. That was 100 questions. Gosh, that is amazing. I can't believe I got through all of those. I really, really, really hope you enjoyed this video. If you stuck around to the end, props to you. You've probably eaten your whole bag of popcorn by now, but I really hope you enjoyed this. And I have told you about all of the most common questions. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next week for a new video. Bye!